Would you be shocked if we told you that some creatures alive today were already ancient when mammoths were still walking the earth? Today, get ready because we're bringing you everything from death-defying urchins to terrifying termite queens. But before we move, smack that like, subscribe, and let's get into it. These are the 15 animals that live longer than you ever knew. Number 15. Red sea urchins. For something that looks like a spiky rock, the red sea urchin holds a record that most species can't touch. Researchers at Oregon State University found that these invertebrates scattered along the Pacific coast from Alaska to Baja California can live more than 100 years, and sometimes over 200. Some of the largest specimens ever found were dated back to the early 1800s. Now, what's even more strange is that they don't really seem to age. Their cells continue to repair themselves, and their reproductive abilities stay strong even into old age. It's kinda similar to an immortal jellyfish. The only thing that changes is how fast they grow. Young urchins double in size fairly quickly, but once they're adults, growth slows to just a few millimeters per year. That slow-motion life strategy, combined with a body that resists aging, has helped them survive for centuries in harsh, rocky environments. They don't look like much, but red sea urchins have cracked the code on staying alive without falling apart in the process. Number 14. Glass sponges. When it comes to long lives, nothing on land even comes close to what's surviving at the bottom of the ocean. Some creatures down there are so old and so ancient they make the pyramids look recent. Among them are glass sponges, strange, skeleton-like animals built from silica, and they're the undefeated champions. One of them was estimated to be around 11,000 years old. That's older than writing. These sponges survive by living their lives at an almost frozen pace. They're usually stuck to the ocean floor in cold, nutrient-poor waters, where they barely move, barely feed, and grow at a pace so slow it's almost stopped. Because researchers can read their silica skeletons like rings on a tree, we now know some have been sitting there longer than human civilization itself. The entire secret is just stay still, live slow, and let time forget you're even there. Turns out not doing much at all might just be the ultimate longevity hack. Number 13. Termite queens. Well, now, let's shrink things down for a second, because one of the longest living animals on this list is an insect. The termite queen can live up to 50 years. That's wild compared to the worker termites around her who barely make it a year or two. And she's not just sitting there. The queen and king actually mate daily, and she lays up to 30,000 eggs every day. By the end of her life, that total reaches somewhere around 165 million. In the African savanna, the combined weight of all the termites outweighs every giraffe, buffalo, and antelope put together. The queen doesn't just fuel a colony. Her existence supports full ecosystems. When her time's finally up, the workers lick her to death. Then they raise a new queen from a nymph, feeding it a royal jelly-like concoction made from their own bodies. It's not just brutal. It's super duper efficient. Termites don't play around when it comes to keeping the queen alive or replacing her. Number 12. Black corals. Black corals don't flash with bright reef colors, but they outlast just about everything else in the ocean. Some colonies found off the coast of Hawaii have been dated at over 4,000 years old, and they're still growing. These corals grow slowly, sometimes adding only a few millimeters each year, but across centuries they form huge, complex structures. While individual polyps eventually die, the colony as a whole just keeps replacing them, meaning the organism itself can last for millennia. In that way, black corals act like the timekeepers of the sea. Other marine species live inside them, and because their bodies capture chemical changes in the water, scientists use them to understand what the oceans looked like thousands of years ago. They aren't flashy, they aren't fast, but they're long-lasting in a way few animals can match. Their patience alone has made them part of history, not just as a species, but as a biological record of the deep. Number 11. Saltwater crocodiles. Saltwater crocodiles, or salties as Australians call them, can live up to 70 years in the wild and closer to 100 if they avoid human contact entirely. Which, honestly, is the sad part. Unlike most animals, crocodiles never really stop growing. Their growth slows way down in adulthood, but they keep adding size as long as they're alive, and their bodies are built to last. Studies show that crocs have powerful immune systems and impressive cellular repair, the kind that helps keep disease in check. Even their blood contains antimicrobial compounds that researchers are studying for future medical use. An older croc might lose a few teeth or start getting cloudy eyes, but it can still hunt, defend territory, and reproduce long after most animals are falling apart. Crocs are ancient for a reason. Everything about their biology says survival. As long as they stay away from humans, they've got time on their side, and they've had it for millions of years. Number 10. Tuatara. The tuatara are basically the last surviving reptile from the age of dinosaurs and might be slow in most ways, but they've got the fastest sperm in the reptile world. And yes, that's a real fact. Native to New Zealand, this species is often called a living fossil. It can take 35 years to reach full adult size and up to 16 months just to hatch from an egg. But when it comes to reproduction, their sperm move nearly 4 times faster than those of other reptiles. Why? Because male tuataras don't have a penis. Speed is the only strategy that works. But the species is in trouble. Warmer temperatures tend to produce more males, and with global heat on the rise, conservationists have started freezing tuatara sperm as a genetic backup. They're already rare, and they're getting rarer. For now, they survive. Somehow. But like most ancient things still clinging on, they'll need all the help they can get just to stick around. It's a do-or-die time. Number 9. Whale sharks. For all their size, we didn't know how to age whale sharks until recently. Unlike bony fish, sharks don't have ear bones with growth rings. So researchers got a little bit creative. After nuclear bomb tests in the 1950s and 60s, a spike of carbon-14 made its way into the food chain. That carbon ended up in the vertebrae of living animals. By analyzing that carbon, scientists could timestamp specific vertebra layers in whale sharks, and it somehow worked. One stranded female over 33 feet long turned out to be nearly 50 years old. By comparing her size to others in photos, scientists believe some individuals might live well over 100, possibly even 120. That means a creature the size of a school bus could be quietly cruising the oceans for a full century, eating only plankton, dodging boats, and vanishing into the blue. They're enormous, ancient, and gentle, which might be the strangest part. And sadly, these gentle giants are vanishing. Number 8. Lobsters. Lobsters have a reputation for being immortal, but let's clear that up. They're not. Still, they've got one of the weirdest aging systems in the animal kingdom. The real secret is in their cells. Most animals, including humans, eventually lose the ability to repair DNA as they age. But lobsters keep producing an enzyme called telomerase their entire lives. That enzyme keeps their chromosomes intact, allowing them to continue growing, molting, and reproducing well into old age. Many can easily live to 50, and some of the giants pulled from the Atlantic may have been closer to 100. They grow slow, but they grow big. And while they're not indestructible, disease, predators, or the energy demands of molting eventually get them. They're clearly built for the long haul. These days, divers don't see as many large ones as they used to. Overfishing and environmental shifts are taking a toll, but the lobsters still left. They're probably older than most of us. Number 7. Hydra. Well, no, it's not that hydra. Hydras are tiny freshwater creatures, usually under an inch long, but don't let the size fool you. Just like the Red Sea urchins, hydras appear not to age. Every few weeks, they regenerate themselves from stem cells. This ongoing renewal means their tissues don't wear out. Their fertility doesn't drop, and their death rate stays flat across time. In long-term lab experiments, as long as they're kept fed and in clean water, hydras just keep going. No signs of aging, no fertility decline. They also have one of the most absurd regenerative powers in the animal kingdom. Cut one in half, and it becomes two. Cut off a head, and it grows a new one. Slice it into pieces, and each chunk can regenerate into a full hydra again. They're basically the biological version of a restart button, and no, that's not a fake exaggeration. These unique animals don't just outlive expectations, they bypass them entirely. Number 6. African elephants. Well now, 60 to 70 years might not sound extreme, but elephants earn every one of those years inch by inch. African elephants grow into that long life slowly. Females typically don't have their first calves until their early teens, and pregnancies last nearly 2 full years, the longest of any mammal. A mother might only raise a handful of calves across her lifetime, so each one matters. And older matriarchs lead the herd, using decades of experience to find water, avoid danger, and keep younger members safe. What really sets elephants apart is how they process grief. After conservationist Lawrence Anthony, known as the Elephant Whisperer, passed away, a herd he'd helped rescue walked for hours to reach his home and stood there mourning for 2 days. Elephants have also been seen circling their dead, touching the bodies, and covering them with dirt or branches. No one fully understands the behavior, but clearly there's something deeper going on than simple instinct. Alright, now let's head over to number 5. Great white sharks. Let's stick with toothy animals for a minute. Did you know some great white sharks make it into their 70s? We used to think they barely lived past 30, until researchers started testing growth layers in their vertebrae. One male in the Atlantic turned out to be over 70, and a female still swimming strong was pushing into her 60s. That gives them one of the longest lifespans of any predator in the ocean. But there's a downside. They don't even reach maturity until 25 or 30, meaning they don't replace themselves quickly. Combine that with slow growth and all the ways humans are removing them from the oceans, and you've got a recipe for serious vulnerability. It's weird to think of great whites as fragile, but from a survival standpoint, they kind of are. The older they get, the more valuable they become, and the fewer of them there are left. A 70-year-old shark is basically an elder in crisis. But be sure to stay away if you ever see one. Number 4. Lake sturgeon. Lake sturgeons look like something that should have gone extinct with the dinosaurs, and in some ways they almost did. These fish first showed up in the fossil record around 136 million years ago, and they haven't changed much since. Instead of scales, their torpedo-shaped bodies are covered in hard, bony plates, and their skeletons, made of cartilage, not bone. They even use whisker-like barbels near their mouths to feel out clams, snails, and whatever else they can slurp up from the river bottom. As for lifespan, one female sturgeon hit 154 years. The problem is, they're in no rush. Males don't spawn until at least 8, and some females don't lay eggs until they're in their 20s or 30s. Factor in overfishing and dams blocking their migration routes, and it's no surprise they're now listed as endangered across most of their range. These fish lived through the Ice Age, but they might not survive the modern era. Number 3. Brant-Sitz bat. Brandt's bat is a part of the Myotis family and weighs just a few grams but can live longer than almost any small mammal we know. Dozens have been recorded reaching over 20 years, and one wild bat was confirmed to be over 41. In human terms, that's the equivalent of someone making it to 250. Scientists are obsessed with how they do it. Most mammals age because over time their telomeres, the protective caps on chromosomes, get shorter every time a cell divides. Shorter telomeres are directly linked to aging and death, but in wild Brandt's bats, researchers found that their telomeres don't shorten at all. Their DNA keeps repairing itself like they're still young. Sure, they can die from starvation, dehydration, or injuries, but they don't develop the kind of age-related diseases we expect in other mammals. These bats are small, quiet, and easy to overlook, but in the world of anti-aging research, they're genuine gold. Number 2. Bowhead whales. If you're looking for an animal that shrugs off time, the bowhead whale is it. In 2007, a group of Alaskan hunters pulled up a whale with a 19th century harpoon still lodged in its flesh, proof it had been swimming around since the 1880s. Later studies confirmed these Arctic giants can live beyond 200 years. Some estimates even suggest 268. Everything about bowheads is scaled up. Their skulls are strong enough to smash through sea ice. Their mouths make up a third of their bodies. Their baleen plates stretch 13 feet, wide enough to sweep up clouds of crustaceans in one pass. Inside, their DNA is just as tough. Scientists found enhanced versions of genes like ERCC1 and PCNA, both linked to cell repair. Those tweaks help their cells keep dividing without falling apart over time. Basically, bowhead whales don't just grow old, they age like they're built for it. Some other unique animals, like the Laysan albatross, go bound 50. Number 1. Greenland sharks. Greenland sharks are up next. Mostly because we know you wanted to see one, and also because we only recently figured out how long they actually live. Scientists carbon dated the proteins in their eye lenses, the ones formed in the womb and never replaced, and confirmed that these Arctic giants can live for centuries. One shark they tested was estimated to be about 400 to 500 years old. That's ridiculous. These sharks grow unbelievably slowly, under a centimeter per year, and they don't even reach sexual maturity until around 150. Imagine finally reproducing only after you've been alive for a century and a half. The cold slows everything down, and that near-frozen metabolism seems to protect their bodies from breaking down the way ours do. No rush, no urgency, just a long, cold cruise through time. They're the type of animal that's been around for centuries, and most of us never even knew they existed. That's how they like it. We really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content like this. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll see you soon.